during that little like 3 months break, decided with one of my former colleagues, Crystal Beringer, to launch an events company. And what that time attending networking events every single week taught us was that there was an opening in the market here to launch a very thoughtful um, event planning and marketing company to kind of raise the bar of the interactions for the business community.
Carrie Shepard, welcome to the Orange Slice podcast.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth, favorite marketer and neighbor.
And neighbor in Rogers Park.
Yeah, holding down the Midtown section of Anchorage.
Heck yeah, you guys always have the coolest parties at your house. I got to come to one.
Did you come to the Jazz Fest?
No, that's the one I missed.
Oh, you came to the Cider Fest where we like put a bonfire out and try to stay warm in 20-degree weather.
It was so cold.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
Really cold. Yeah, we hosted Spinard Jazz Fest house party a few years ago, and so far that was my favorite. But our neighbors in that little section of Rogers Park pledged to start hosting a neighborhood, basically like a street party. And Matt Walzek, our favorite photo booth guy,
of course,
moved down the street from us. He's now in Bannister, and he hosted the first one this summer. So that was really cool.
Oh, I missed it.
I know, I was out of town too, but next year.
Oh, Matt's awesome. He's got like how many Volkswagen buses?
He has a rotating cast.
I think he told me 12 last time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I in doing some research about, your background and your career, because I actually didn't know a lot about like where you came from and like what you, what you did in the past. And you've always struck me as a super smart, super savvy business person.
Thanks.
And but like your LinkedIn's crazy. It's like got all kinds of like you work for Intel and like all kinds of crazy jobs and positions you've held. I don't know where you want to start, but I want to hear a little bit about like your background in the tech industry and like where that came from and how that how that kind of shaped you into who you are today.
Wow, it feels like you've got a bit of a sixth sense because I am preparing for my 7th business in 2024, and I'm going back into tech.
Wow.
So it's perfect timing. And I haven't really told many people about it because I'm going to launch at the end of next year. And in the meantime, I'm kind of in student mode right now, preparing. Anyway.
Are you able to tell us about it?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it. But
Cool. Awesome.
But I'm not sure what the end result will be. Depend on market research. But I grew up in Valdez, Alaska. My parents came up as teachers in the 70s, and Valdez, is just this really special little town in Alaska that had a consistent influx of new people and new ideas, along with a well-founded tax base thanks to the pipeline. And also the families of the pipeline workers who'd lived all around the world. And what that created was a school district that was very forward thinking, and starting in the early 80s established the first like real computer labs in schools. And we actually, at one time, I heard that our school system in Valdez had a better Macintosh business lab than anywhere in the state of Alaska, like better than the government and most businesses.
Wow.
And so we started learning programming in kindergarten. Today's my birthday. I'm 46. I'm not too afraid to say
it is
that.
your birthday today. Happy birthday.
Thank you. But so this would have been like early 80s. And so we were learning Logo. Remember programming that little turtle? You're shaking your head. No, you never had to sit through that.
I remember the first Macintosh I think I interacted with was in 5th grade in Miss Wall's class. And I remember playing Oregon Trail is what I remember.
Yeah, that was
I
our
never
first
got
entry.
any coding experience or anything like that. But this is how a lot of like when I listen to like podcasts with like tech leaders in the industry, they talk about like this kind of thing. Like our school was the first to get like this thing, and we got to learn on it, and then it elevated them to a point where they're like way ahead of the game when when they're in their late 40s or whatever it is. So
it's so true. So like by 1st grade in the 80s, most kids could type probably 30 to 40 words per minute. And
better than I type. know.
I know. And we started word processing in those like kindergarten, first grade, and then it progressed to the point where my husband Steven, who you've met, he owns an IT company now. Shout out to Artisan Systems.
When
But
did he start that?
he started that 7 years ago,
Okay. Yeah.
and but he and his friends who are really deep into the IT program at Valdez High School, they all had professional jobs coming straight out of high school.
Steven's from Valdez as well.
He's from Valdez as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I like to say I married the most eligible bachelor from Valdez.
When did you guys meet and like get together? I just a sidebar here, but
right. No, we met as, this is like embarrassing Alaska talk, but we met as babies in his family's log cabin in '77.
oh my gosh,
I know.
wow.
And his mom was just reminiscing about that. So we've known each other a long time. But fast forward, and what's crazy is 17-year-old Steven and his friends were such good programmers. And I remember like they hacked the school like grade system. I know, amazing.
Someone
like,
I would do with that kind
yes,
of like,
totally. What do you
that
do with
kind of,
this
like,
power?
skills? Yeah.
Yeah, and would do all kinds of silly things. But anyway, by the time that they were 17, they all had these fantastic jobs. And when they graduated, I remember being really shocked that they had jobs on par with people in their 30s. And that really was just honestly the result of a couple decades of great investment in technology and learning for the next generation. So
That's
pretty
awesome.
wild.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, that's crazy. I had no idea about that story when we first came in here. So that's a great backdrop to where we're going now.
Totally. Now, I will say, like, I don't really have a mind for technology. I
Yeah.
come from a family of entrepreneurs and teachers, and my dad was just keenly interested in computers. And he actually brought the first Nintendo that I know of to Alaska. He bought it in Taiwan in 1984 and brought it over. All the directions were in Japanese. So my grandfather is, he's my step grandpa. He's Japanese American. We sent him like photos and was like, can you just tell us what this is? And so we had this like Japanese Nintendo.
Oh my God.
For a couple years.
Translate it.
Right.
You.
And then like a couple years later, yeah. So my dad like had this keen fascination with computers, and that really led us to thinking about and learning how to do things better and more efficiently for business with computers. So I think my interactions, like, I'm not a great gamer. I've taken programming classes. I don't really have the brain for it, but I'm very keenly interested in how do you use these tools to get to your other goals faster.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that kind of speeds me up to say, like, I went to college for economics, and when I graduated, got a job for Intel in Colorado Springs, and it was very low paying in a cubicle farm. I must say, it was not very joyful. But what was really neat was learning learning more about just like how that sector works, and one of the big takeaways I think for that I think like helped me as I began starting my own companies was the copy exactly model from Intel. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay,
Tell me
so
about it.
one of the ways that they've been able to scale is that they adopted this principle called copy exactly. And it starts from even just the basics of like how they design their fabs. So their fabrication labs have the exact same footprint, so that when you go from Oregon to Colorado, let's say, you know exactly where the bathrooms are.
Got
you know
it.
where the gym is, you know where the cafeteria
Of course.
is. Yeah, totally smart. And they just understood systems at such a deep level. So that was a really great entree into understanding, how the tech sector kind of operates, but also, again, how to use these learnings to accelerate growth in your own business.
Yeah, to scale your business. Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. And your education wise, like, what did you end up getting your degrees in?
I was like one of those people that was always curious, like intensely curious, but never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I remember having like a lot of angst as like graduating both from high school and college, because I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. And because of that, I actually had pressure from my college advisor to like pick a major my sophomore year, because I started
Your sophomore year.
Yeah, because I'd started as an electrical engineering major. And because I'd had like 4 years of calculus at that point. My dad is an engineer by trade, or not engineer, I'm sorry, electrician by trade. And, um, and I really realized like that first semester, I was like, man, I am not cut out for this. Like I'm looking at the other people in the class and how naturally this comes. This is not me. Also, I was just too social. And then for the jobs that I think were available at that time. So then I started taking economics classes, which the calculus was applicable to. And then, of course, just like some general business classes, because what else do you do at a liberal arts college if you don't know what you want to do? You get a business major
Yeah,
or you get a business degree.
for sure.
So, yeah, I ended up getting a business degree with a focus in management. I was able to triple major at that school. So I got an economics degree. And then my other major was Japanese.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, you
yeah.
speak fluent Japanese as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's conversationally fluent.
Conversational. Yeah.
It's so hard. The reading is like use it or lose it, and I'm definitely losing it. But
Yeah, you
but I can
gotta
still hold a good conversation.
totally, totally. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. So, you came to Anchorage when? Like you
So
came
yeah,
back from
I
school.
did. Yeah, so I went to college in Oregon at Pacific University, and then spent a year in Tokyo at Waseda University. And then when I
Okay.
graduated, worked in Colorado and then Seattle for a decade. But in 2008, we had that horrible crash, financial crash,
Yeah,
and
which didn't, weirdly enough, I don't think affected Alaska as much as
it did not.
I think we got like the biggest dividend ever like that year,
It's funny how that
possibly.
works. Yeah, I think you're right. It was so wild because, my parents were still living in Alaska at the time, and I'd come back every summer for a month to work and fish. And I remember that year, like so many friends, especially in the middle management level, which was kind of where I was at, people got laid off. Many people lost their homes. And it was a really depressing time to be in Seattle. And so I remember coming back, and like every single friend that I had gone to high school with had like bought their second truck and was taking like their fourth international vacation this year. And I was like, something is wrong with the
Yeah.
quality of life where I'm living. So I started like looking for opportunities, and in 2011 moved back up to Alaska to take a job with Alaska Communications.
Okay.
So
ACS.
yeah,
Yeah.
ACS.
Yeah.
And then began my education in telecommunications, which was really hard earned. It's
What
so
did you
hard.
do for them?
I did outside sales for small business.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
I had another opportunity at the time to work for my cousin's dental supply company, which would have been very steady Eddie, well paying, very low stress. But I was like, gosh, if I don't know anybody in Anchorage, I knew 3 people that I went to high school with.
It's so
And
weird because I honestly thought you like grew up here. Like
no,
everybody
right.
knows.
But one of the lessons I learned in Seattle running businesses was, the best way to honestly meet people is to choose a job where you are forced to get out and network or make friends or just get out of your office. So I chose the ACS job, and within 2 years, truly knew like 2,000 new people.
Oh
It
my
was,
gosh.
but I was going to like 4 networking events a week, and then I was like spending probably most weekdays visiting 6 new businesses, small businesses in Midtown Anchorage.
Wow. Yeah,
So
what a
it was
great way to
crazy.
get to know like the
Yeah,
town and the people and the businesses here. That's awesome. And then you transitioned from ACS at some point, I'm assuming.
I did. And so after spending 2 years like slinging internet, then I decided to take a break and open up. And during that little like 3 months break, decided with one of my former colleagues, Crystal Buringer, to launch an events company. And what that time attending networking events every single week taught us was that there was an opening in the market here to launch a very thoughtful, um, event planning and marketing company, to kind of raise the bar of the interactions
Yeah.
for the business community.
Interesting. So you just up and decided like I'm going to quit my day job and start a business. Like
Kind of, it's
how
so
did that?
many.
Yeah, tell me
You know
about
how it
that.
is. It's like so
I
many
don't
little.
know how it is
Oh,
because
okay.
I was kind of forced out, and then
Mhm.
I am like I got to figure out what to do. So I'm going to start
Right.
my own company. But
Well,
for
it
you,
wasn't
it's like you're just like I'm going to take 3 months off and figure out what I want to do. And like what was that? Talk
exactly. Well,
about
I
that
kind of actually
process.
started earlier. So when I was at Intel, I was also teaching the SAT classes and GMAT classes for this company called Kaplan. And then I had also started selling, doing direct sales for a cosmetics company. And those
Mary Kay. I
Mary
saw
Kay,
that on
yeah,
your LinkedIn.
I still use Mary Kay. That's why I only like 30 guys, not 46. But really, what was funny was I earned more working those 2 side hustles than I did at my day job. I mean, that wasn't hard. I think I was paid $12.50 an
Oh,
hour
okay.
to be
Yeah.
an economic analyst. Um, but what was interesting was like I made the hard decision to go full time into small business ownership and freelancing when I was 24.
Okay.
And my family totally freaked out. They were like, "Oh my God, why would you do this to yourself?"
They wanted you to have like that stable,
Yeah, like climb that
salary,
ladder. Why would you
yeah,
do this? And I'm
corporate
like,
ladder.
but I cared more about freedom, being creative. And I just felt that I had built enough confidence in myself to take the risk. And I could also see that the risks were pretty small.
Yeah,
I wasn't supporting a family.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about that this morning. Even, yeah, I mean, that was one of my reasons for not starting my own business earlier, was because of the support system that I thought that a regular 40 hour work week would provide. But yeah, in reality, it's your own. You got to make your own job security and security in this world. And but when you look at it, I think there isn't a lot of downside with people say like, oh, you're taking a risk, but like, what's the worst thing that happened? I go back to a corporate job.
Right,
That's
exactly.
like,
And if you know your skills, I've never been afraid to be unemployed because I
yeah,
know how to sell.
yeah.
Every single business needs
That's
a
so
good
cool.
salesperson.
I think people
right?
need more of that confidence. I think that
Mhm.
is what most people lack, is like that confidence. Like, oh, I can do this if this doesn't work out. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now, I didn't develop those thoughts in a bubble. I had a lot of great business mentors who really encouraged me to understand that I was in a place where I could take more risks, and that it was good to bet on yourself.
How did
And
you get mentors? That's one thing I have an
great question.
issue with. I've never had like a solid, like, consistent mentor. I've had people in my life
Hmm.
that really helped show me the way or give me the confidence, or helped me develop skills. But yeah, how did you get like to the point where you found mentor? Did you like seek them out? Did you like say like, oh, I wanted to get to know this person that had a strategy to like
Hmm.
get around them, or what?
This is such a strange thing because I realized, like, man, I've been pretty privileged my whole life with mentorship. And I think it's because I grew up in a community of teachers. You know, my parents, especially my dad, are just fantastic mentors to other
They
people.
want to teach.
They want to teach, they want to guide, they want to stay in touch. And it's a part of their mission, like their life mission. So I was surrounded by those people. But I think I also learned at a young age how to ask for help. And I learned that there's a give and take too. When I think back, I'm like, I think people were willing to say yes because they understood that I would actually try to take action on what they would tell me.
Yeah.
And that's part of the
Well,
exchange.
that's what people say, is like, yeah, there has to be some sort of value that you bring to the
Hmm.
table to someone who you're asking to sort of take time with you.
Hmm.
And I think I struggle personally because I do want to help people as well and mentor people, but I struggle with the fact that you said teachers. Like, I struggle with like teaching people. Like, it's the fallacy of like experts or whatever they
Yes.
call it, where you're like at this like level, you've done something for so long,
Hmm.
you forget what it's like to not know, and so you just automatically assume everybody knows what you know. And that's really, I struggle with that a lot. And
Yep.
I think even with my kids, like, just not realizing like, oh, I need to slow down and like give them this information in a way that they can absorb it. And I'm just not
Absolutely.
good at that. So it's cool that you found people that were able to give you that information, had the desire to sort of help you and see your career through and see the results of it. And that's
Hmm.
obviously it all paid off, because yeah, this all started with you sort of kind of getting to the point where you're building this events
Right,
company. So
exactly.
yeah,
I know. So I was going to say, like, so through those mentorships, and people just saying, like, no, you can really do this. I went full time as a small business owner at 24. And while, like, for the next several years, just was paid on commission only and built, you run into so much failure. It's insane. There's months where you're like, wow, I can't pay all my bills. Okay, I need to rethink this. And I
that's
think
scary.
it is scary, but again, low risk. So I knew that. And I knew I could always just go apply for a job. So I think the hardest decision was, do I continue to keep going on this path? And at some point I didn't. What I realized was, like, direct sales was wonderful as like a little incubator, because everything's kind of done for you, and you've got like a built-in community. However, I couldn't sell the business that I was making money in.
Got it.
And so that's when I stopped that, took the job
The
at
Mary,
Ace.
this was the Mary
Mary Kay.
Kay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
also I'd started two other businesses in Seattle. I launched I like have this problem with naming companies too long. One was called Global Language Adventures, Glad Adventures. It was the longest website in the world. Terrible marketing, and I I started it as on a dare, honestly, to see if I could get paid to travel the world and teach and help people like speak language more fluently.
Okay.
So we went to
Did it work?
Japan. Yeah,
It
it was
did.
great. Yeah, and so we went to Japan. Took my Glad Ventures, all single Seattleites who were in their 20s and wanted to see more of the world and wanted to make friends, in other countries. So that was a really cool project. I also did some freelancing. Like helping people like edit reports, like technical reports and
Okay.
things. And
Yeah.
then the other one that I started, which is really funny to me, it was a tiny little one called May May Foods, where I created Chinese barbecue pork filling. It's so niche. It's so niche.
Whoa.
It's the filling inside of a Chinese dim sum barbecue bun.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Well, you could probably sell that to like Cisco Food Systems or like
Right.
some kind of like food distribution company, like and
Right.
just get a co-packer to like pack it
It's
up
like
if you wanted to scale. I don't know how you scale that business
Exactly.
otherwise.
Well, it's funny because that was like where I actually learned how to do better market research, because in figuring out how to make that business scale, I was like, I don't want to do this business at all. Like the margins are so low. There's so much risk in food. This is not for me.
Oh,
But
I
yeah.
started I started Anchorage Grocery before I
Yes,
started Orange Slice,
that was
and
awesome.
I should have talked to people about
Right.
who had done food stuff before, because and I had already known like the
Hmm.
margins were slim, but I've learned really quickly, like I need to sell a lot more or
Yes.
I need to find something else. And I ended up finding something else. But
Yes.
it's funny how those things all, looking back, are all like the stepping stones to
Yes.
where we get, right?
Absolutely. It's like I picked up a little skill along the way. Just a throwback. It does feel a little bit like Legend of Zelda, where you're just like, pick up this little tool
Yep.
and this little one,
It's
your little
totally,
gems. Yeah.
yeah.
So finally getting to Toast of the Town, I think like what I had learned was that it would be wise to decompress, take a break from this like stressful corporate job, and think about the next moves. And so we had been kicking around this events idea for about a year, but I really took that time to think about like if I was to build a business, what would my life look like? I already knew what it was like to work a ton of hours and to not have a good work life. In another podcast, you said you don't like work life balance. I agree.
You heard that?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
good. It was a
Yeah,
good line.
the
And I said,
work-life balance thing is silly.
fallacy. Yeah.
It needs to be work. That was gross. There's a fly around here. No, it needs to be work. It should be something that you enjoy. Like work
Right.
should be something you get up on Monday morning. You're like, I can't wait to get to it, and that takes a lot of self-reflection and figuring out what gives you energy and like
Right.
doing those things. And that's what I've learned, and setting yourself up for success, by scheduling and planning and time blocking and exercising and relationship stuff.
Yes.
And there's a lot that goes into spiritual stuff, meditation that goes into creating a great, work life.
Exactly.
Where it's all kind of melds together. But
I agree. It's more like integrated. I think one of the things that I was able to do in my 20s was because I was like, running my own companies and managing my own time. I had already created a lifestyle before I decided to like move into a new direction, where I traveled multiple months of the year and would just go around the country wherever I thought I wanted to spend time. I'd escape the dreary Seattle winter, go to Florida, go to Hawaii, go to wherever I was trying to go. And
so you had done that.
I had done that, and also had like experienced in a failure where I was doing a lot of personal growth work. And so was figuring out like all of these neat little systems and I'd say like life hacks to like create a life that I wanted to live versus being focused on just the goal of profitability.
Yeah, I love that. It sounds a little bit like Tim Ferriss, like the 4-hour work
Oh
week.
yeah. I like totally started a mastermind group. This is like the hubris of this makes me laugh, but in my early 30s, I started a mastermind group. We met at my brother's apartment, which was like 800 square feet, and we'd all pile in. And every month we would like take one of the tasks from that book and start it. And that actually was how I started to learn how to scale a little bit. So I hired 3 virtual assistants and got to the point where like my little cosmetics empire only took like 24 hours a week. I know. It's not
Nice.
that I couldn't have grown it, but I
Yeah.
wanted to do other things.
Yeah.
And
And
then that,
and you was making enough money to where you were had enough
right.
to live on and some.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then would use that extra time, like that was the period of time after reading 4 Hour Work Week where, which, teaches you how to basically master your time and create replicable services and things like that, where I was able to start playing and launching other companies. So that was a really cool experience in my 20s, but I didn't have it totally figured out,
My gosh,
obviously.
you have such a great, like, the amount of experience, like, all while I was all during this time working at Skinny Raven for like a decade or more, which is that's where I was, and it worked out for
Yeah.
me,
Did you
obviously.
have kids though at
I
that
had
point?
kids when I
Yeah.
was 20 years old. I had my
Hmm.
first daughter when I was 21.
Amazing.
My wife was pregnant at 19, and now she's 22. Yeah. And now I feel like it's like my time, like
Right,
this is like
exactly.
what I've been dreaming of in terms of entrepreneurship. I don't want to talk too much about me, but I did just buy a new business like 2 weeks ago.
What?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
tell me all the things.
oh,
This is so
okay. Yeah.
exciting.
So,
It's like a new baby.
yeah. Well, we've, as a marketing, Orange Slice
Mhm.
is my main business, but we've been doing a lot of direct mail stuff. I feel like mail and your mailbox is
Mhm.
one of the best platforms to get a message out these days because
Yes.
most people are getting their bills in their emails now
Mhm.
or auto pay. There's just not a lot of mail coming into mailboxes, and now you have the UPS.
Mhm.
Do you get the email that shows your
I
mail?
do.
Yeah, so you could see what's in your mail.
Mhm.
I'm looking at that every single day. So we started doing a lot of direct mail stuff and really selling into our clients and seeing success with it. That was the biggest thing.
That's awesome.
And so we ended up getting with the Valpak franchise,
Yes.
the direct
Oh,
mail
that's great.
franchise called Valpak. And Mary, who's owned the franchise since 1986.
I know Mary.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's just the best, like just a great woman, super hard to say no to, which is I think her
Yes,
magic.
that's definitely.
Yeah. So I had asked her probably a year and a half ago, like, hey, would you be interested in ever selling the business? And because she was just saying, I'm getting old. My husband passed away, and
Mhm.
and they had the business together, and I'm like, well, I'd hate to see this go away. Like, just maybe just ask her. And she was like, yeah, maybe. And it kind of just left it at that. And then, fast forward like 6 or 8 months, and she was like, were you serious about that? And I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. And, looked at the financials, and I'm like, we could do this. So,
That's amazing.
and
Congratulations.
yeah, and Valpak's a legitimate, like, scaled, like
Yes.
they have like the biggest print facility in the world down in Florida.
Oh my gosh.
It's an amazing. They have all these tools and systems. It's such a great view of how a business can be scaled and how it looks to be like super organized, and the tools they use. They have Salesforce and lead gen stuff, and it's great. So yeah, between that and Icebug is my other business.
I'm wearing my ice bugs right now.
If you're not wearing Icebugs right now,
You're crazy. Yeah, you're asking to break a hip.
falling down.
Right.
So yeah, I'm kind of getting on that track. I'm getting excited about new businesses and what's next,
I love
and
that.
adding stuff that makes sense with on the marketing side too.
It does.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
the Valpak, I was going to say, like, I'm a big fan of direct mailing too. And actually, even the last few years I had my like cosmetics business, I worked with David's Bridal. And what I found, even back then, even when mailboxes were stuffed, was that I could make people open the mail and feel really special just by having really cute, like giant envelopes. So I invested in like really expensive stationery
yeah,
to market
yeah.
my bridal
It
services.
was like packaging,
It
right?
was
You see it, and
packaging.
it's like a gold
Yeah, because
envelope
it
with
still
like,
feels special to get something cool in the mail. But you're
yeah,
right. Even now, it's really nice. Like, I'm so starved for good mail. I'll actually read the campaign flyers coming through.
yeah,
I'm
Well,
like,
that's the thing. Even when you throw something away, you
right,
have to look at it.
right.
It's not like my inbox where I can just be like, nope,
Delete.
nope, nope,
Hmm.
nope, and then it goes to spam. Anything my
Right.
computer knows, a lot of this stuff
Hmm.
is spam. So yeah, we're super excited about it. There's a ton of opportunity in Alaska. Mary just wasn't
Hmm.
leveraging any of the
Hmm.
technology or tools that they had. And she was just, done. So
Hmm.
it was a
That's
lot of
cool.
opportunity.
I
Yeah.
also really love it when you can. It's a smart way to like buy in. Like that's what I feel like I got from direct sales too. Is like really understanding how do you run a multinational company.
Yeah.
How do you support a large team but make them feel part of a family. How do you train people in a way that everybody has a high quality of training, and you help people understand standards and values, but allow people to like make it their own. And I feel like your Val Pack is going to give you the most incredible insights.
Oh, their training's crazy. We're 3 weeks of training. We've done it all week this week from 7 a.m. to like 1.
Oh my gosh.
It's because they're on East Coast time.
Florida time.
But it's, and all the different departments. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm really happy about it. I think we'll be able to help a lot of small businesses, get the word out about what they're doing and what kind of services and products they're trying to sell. So
yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think one of the ways that you and I connected, Seth, is like, so, I launched Toast of the Town in 2013 with Crystal, and with just the goal that year of just like, let's see what's available. We saw the opportunity, but we don't have a track record or even a portfolio yet. So we said yes to every single event that year and started to build our portfolio. And our first big break was really developing the ASRC signature gala from the get-go. They didn't have one. We got to develop it. That was really cool. But I think like one of the things that I think we connected on, I feel like, was really that we had such a heart for doing two things, like connecting with people, especially in person, and also like helping small businesses communicate their value proposition, like, and connect to new customers in a very meaningful, tangible way.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one thing I always loved was like, you gave me your cell phone and I would be like, Seth, I'm doing this like really exciting fundraiser. We don't have a giveaway. Do you have any gift cards? You'd be like, pick them up tomorrow. And I'm like, this guy is an answered prayer. You're always on top of it, always responsive. Meanwhile, other organizations, other companies, like, hey, fill out this form. We'll get back to you in 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always appreciated it. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. But yeah, no, you're right. I think we do connect on that level. And the reason I started Orange Slice from the very beginning was to help small businesses, as many small businesses as we could. And we've done so. I mean, we've helped, I think we're up to 100 small businesses that we've helped.
That's amazing.
And that's just, a lot of it's just like sitting down and having a discovery meeting and giving them some tips and tricks on like how to better market themselves, or how to or giving them the logo, or getting their, getting more dialed in on their email marketing or whatever it is. But what are you seeing right now in terms of, we talked about direct mail, but like, how are you, like marketing wise, number one for me is the in-person stuff. If the touch point can be physical, it's the best. At Kaladi Brothers, when I was the marketing director there, it was always like, I was a big advocate for being out in the community with that red truck and being like, that's the best way we can, get new clients, new customers, and with Skinny Raven as well, with running events and that, and anything in person where you can create an environment that creates feelings and emotions towards a brand is really what I strive for. But if you can't, direct mail is a good one. It's a tactile thing. It's physical. But what do you see as sort of like on the marketing front? There's AI now, like, and I haven't seen really any super useful tools that, help us, market better necessarily. Sometimes phrasing can be, but yeah, just like tools or things that you see on the marketing, or getting messages out, or getting people together, or any kind of like marketing stuff that you've seen that's really good, or that you're doing.
Well, it's interesting. So, I sold Toast of the Town at the end of 2020.
Yep.
We had our best year ever. It was slammed, though. I worked 7 days a week that year. It was really hard.
At the end of 2020.
At the end of 2020.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we did 600% growth that year. I know. And we completely revolutionized our team because now we're able to hire nationwide. And we brought on this incredible general manager named Martha Keel, who now, who was going to buy in. But then I was like, I think I need to exit to do my next thing. Yeah. So she and Crystal now run Toast, which is amazing. And I will say, like, I just met with them a couple months ago, and just speaking of in person for a moment, I think the pandemic helped us understand how important the in-person connection is.
Yes.
And, it really depends on the type of business that you have, but that you can't replace the experiences with your product, with your services, with the providers. Even if like you're providing something digital like graphic design, them getting to meet you and maybe like see some of your work in person, or see their logo on like something tangible like a mug. I mean, those things really make a difference. Anyway, so I think events I've seen come back in a huge way. And I really believe like the standard of events in Alaska specifically have never been better.
You're absolutely right. I think, well, what about what DJ Spencer's doing with his family jams?
We used to run that for him.
Yeah,
I mean, it was him guiding us, but we provided the manpower.
It's such a cool thing for families. It's like people have nothing to do, not nothing, but Anchorage
Mhm.
has very little to do in you know, throughout, like for a weekend for a family. It's like you
Yes.
got some UA
Huge.
volleyball or hockey games or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's just not much going on. So like stuff like that.
Oh, it's huge. And
Yeah.
honestly, like I really love Jams for Fams specifically because it was inspired by this event called Baby Loves Disco that was in the lower
Yeah.
48.
It's
But
a
after
franchise.
talking with Spencer, it was like, really like you understand your own brand better. And
Yeah.
he's like
He's
one time I think it was Thompson and Co. told him he was a micro influencer, but he really is. And so it was so exciting to see him build his own business, but also his own experience. And there's kind of nothing like it. It's 400 people pack the Beartooth Theater every, 5 times a
yeah,
year,
grandparents,
grandparents to
kids.
dance their faces off.
Yeah.
And it's healthy and it's
Coolest
so
thing.
fun. Oh, it's the
So
coolest.
I
And
think,
it's legit music. It's not
yeah,
like
and not
4 hours of
boring.
Baby Shark.
Yeah, exactly. I think for businesses, if you can't do events like that yourself, try to
Mhm.
be a part of those type of events.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I feel like some missed opportunities that small businesses and marketers who guide them could really take advantage of are look for the opportunities to sponsor. We have so many, not just nonprofits, but little organizations. I mean, it used to be the little leagues when I was growing up, and I mean, the truth was like you get a lot of the community feels and support when you do support those things.
Yeah.
But I would say like the tip for events that I've learned over the years is like make sure that you're really clear about who your demographic is or who they're adjacent to, and then go and actively offer your support.
What does Seth Godin call it? The smallest viable audience or whatever
Yes,
it is.
yes,
Yeah. He's like,
so good.
find that.
Find that
Yeah.
exactly. I think there's two ways though. Like one of the things that I really love is yes, sponsorship, give some money, but also like helping to cross promote what they're doing. So, for example, like I'll use Jams for Fams. They have a really tight group of dedicated sponsors, and they all share similar values and they share a similar audience.
Yes.
And so that's like
Like
very
dental groups, the
yes,
Dome, I think, is in there. Yeah,
pediatrics.
pediatrics, stuff that makes sense. And I think that's a testament to more to Spencer probably
hmm
understanding his audience
Yes, he's a
and
good
how to
marketer.
pitch
hmm
like to sponsors, like, hey, this is your people. There's like, this makes sense.
It does.
It-
And I think though that they can leverage it even more, like just by being like, like if you knew like a pediatric group had a larger audience than you, but you're like sponsoring alongside them, that's a win for you.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did want to call out like a really exciting cross marketing or co-marketing opportunity that we started in Spinard last year. So after I sold Toast, I took 3 month retirement, heaven, and then I was like, what do I want to do next?
Wait,
And
is the 3 month thing, is there some meaning there? Or is it just like feels like a good amount of
I
time?
honestly think it's probably how long it took for me to. The first month was to decompress, get rid of the stress, eye twitch. The second was just live life, have some joy. The third was like, gosh, health benefits would be really nice. And also, I want to build something new in the world, so what's that? And Cook and Housing Authority had the Nave, which is a hub for community culture and the arts. And they needed somebody to help relaunch it because they had rebuilt it, renovated it during the pandemic, and it hadn't opened
It's a
yet.
great space. Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous, and it's just a really, really neat part of the community development program there. So anyway, I started there, but what I was noticing is this is the same need that provides work for Orange Slice, but also it has really never. I think there's always going to be a need for this as long as there's a lot of small businesses. And that is like an understanding of how to actually reach your audience and let people know you're in business. So when I was at ACS meeting all those like 2,000 clients in Midtown, I think actually my caseload was like 1,600. The number one thing I came back with to my like supervisors was, hey, like happy that we're providing these services, but all these businesses desperately need marketing. Can I refer them to somewhere? And we didn't have anywhere because ACS used out of state marketing.
Yeah, they probably ask you guys like, hey, can you build us a website?
Oh,
Can you help us
gosh.
with social media?
Yes.
Can we get domain emails?
Right.
Like, how do we do this Google listing thing?
Exactly. Because it used to be yellow pages, right?
Yeah.
Like ACS had the yellow pages.
Got it.
And that's kind of where that bled over. And I was like, we have nothing to offer you. So I knew it was a need for sure. And when I started in the NAVE position and started meeting with the businesses in the area, I was surprised to find that there was like 24 new businesses in the Spinard neighborhood that nobody had really realized had opened.
Holy
And
shit.
so we decided to, as a community there, a church across the street called Refuge City and some other artists and nonprofits decided to start this co-marketing initiative called Spinard Second Saturday. And it really came from a conversation with me and the youth pastor. And she's like, I think I really want to start a First Friday for Spinard. And I said, I've just got to be honest. It's never going to happen because downtown is established. People can pre-funk here. I knew that because I go to Georgia Blue, my favorite gallery. And you would see people in there before like 5:30, maybe 6. But then they go downtown. They're not coming back. They go to the museum. They hang out. They go get a drink at Ginger. Yay.
Yay.
Shout out to
Our
Ginger,
favorite.
our favorite.
Yes.
And they're not coming back. I think we need to start our own. So Spinard Second Saturday has been going for a little over a year. And what it is it's the businesses in Spinard, as well as the artists, the nonprofits, the residents, getting together to just truly like volunteer their marketing efforts together to draw the community in one day a month for something special.
Cool.
It's just focused. Not that you don't want to market all the other days, but it's like if your resources are small and you want to give people a reason to at least come down once a month,
it gives
to
them
discover.
a platform to discover different brands.
Yeah,
businesses.
and it gives us a chance to like, we use that platform to like offer some Google business classes we got a grant for, and also connect them with graphic designers and other advertisers who would help for either free or at a low cost.
Okay.
So anyway,
do they still do this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So every
you started this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been really exciting. Now my office is downtown with the Women's Business Center, so I have to like make a special effort to get back down every single day. But the truth was, this is where I spend most of my money. I spend almost all my free money in Spinard.
Okay.
You know, it's the best restaurants.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
all the
true.
art galleries, all the shopping, all the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there. But actually in December is Light Up the Night with Spinard.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a ton going on December 9th. So,
cool. December 9th.
December 9th.
What are they going to be doing? Just like a whole festival? Like
Yeah.
we need it's like an art walk, right? It could be like a shut down the street art walk thing.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool, but it's a little chilly out.
It's a little chilly. And Spinard, like the north end of Spinard has been rehabbed and it's really walkable, bikeable. The rest is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Watching people try to walk down that is so scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
no,
it's really bad. It's like one of those like compilation videos that run in cheap restaurants, you know, of like car crashes. Yeah,
totally.
You don't want that. So, but anyway, the Spinard Second Saturday, though, I was going to say it's more than an art walk. Like First Friday definitely has been centered around art. This is really about just like discovering what's new.
Come discover the businesses that exist here. Come hang, and each business is, I'm assuming, doing something kind of special or advertising something.
Yeah, they give space to artists. So there's open studios.
Okay.
So there is still art involved, but there's entertainment, lots of activities and scavenger hunts for kids. So
I think I brought up the idea with you before, the wine walk idea. Did I ever?
I love that. You should totally do it. You should bring that.
I was going to do it this year,
Saturday.
and I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I told my staff about it, and they started doing logos and stuff, and then it was like, it got too late.
Should totally still do it.
I just need to do it. It's going to be so fun, and I think it would do the same thing you're talking about. It would help people discover, and I would do it downtown.
Yes,
but it would help people discover businesses because it's not just going to be restaurants with wine. It'll be art galleries. It'll be boutiques, you know, the Skinny Ravens, the places where people maybe haven't gone or don't know about, to go just, you know, come in, have that tasting of wine, the little ounce and a half or 2 ounces. The business will have an opportunity to interact with people, give them some sort of, you know, coupon or something to get them back. And the idea is that it would be on like a third Saturday of the month from like 2 to 5. Awesome. And then people, you know, 1,000 people or so will come downtown. And then after the event, they'll go out into the community and go back to those places to eat and shop.
Absolutely.
Again.
It gives you just another excuse to like get out and explore a bit.
And I've told so many people at this event, I thought it would be like somebody would have grabbed it.
Haven't.
I also had the caffeine crawl was an idea when I worked for Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
So people, and you would go around the world by like drinking different coffees from around the world at different businesses and have like a passport stamp thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, you really could. I mean, of course, like downtown has the coffee shops, but I think the coffee one would be easier in Midtown Spinard.
Yeah.
Yeah. An easier trail. But the wine walk downtown would be amazing. And I mean, there's definitely a shortage. I've been surprised at, yes, events have gotten better, but I feel like the social opportunities in Anchorage specifically have really not even come back 50% yet. Feels like there's not a lot to do still.
To what it was.
I think people are still Netflixing at home.
Totally. Everybody got in a little rut.
They
all
did.
in a little rut. I love getting out and doing stuff, but I also feel like I love being home more than I did before. But that might be an age thing too.
Right. It's so true.
It's so true.
I know.
It's like I just want to go home and just get in bed. My wife, like the first thing she does when she gets home is like put her PJs on and like
Yeah.
go
I
on
think
the
we
couch.
feather, like the older you get, you feather your nest and then you never want to leave this
Yeah,
nest.
it's like so
It's
good.
like too comfortable.
It's your birthday, but you brought us a gift.
Oh yeah.
And tell me about the what you have brought us, because
Okay.
it's some kind of orange, you said.
So this is a pomelo, and in Mandarin Chinese it's yotzi, and
Yotes.
yotzi, and right now it's slightly underripe because Alaska, but once it turns yellow, it'll be great. But this is one of the original citrus fruits of the world, and
I have to watch a YouTube video to peel it.
To peel it, it has a super thick rind, like maybe 2 inches thick.
Oh my gosh!
And
we
inside
should
it's like
do
really
like
delicate.
a video of us
Totally,
like unpacking it, but it has to be ripe though, right? How do I know it's ripe?
When it's yellow,
Okay,
it's a little bit green still.
Okay.
Yeah, but it has like the luck symbol on it right now. But this is for
Wow.
orange slice, and it's going to be like when you slice this will be like the ultimate orange slice,
Oh
orange
my
slice
gosh.
Maximus.
You are the best. I did get you a coffee.
Yay! Thank you.
For your birthday.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Totally.
I feel like a schlub because I totally like failed on the birthday. I should have brought you a present.
I feel like after you're 18,
yeah, 21 maybe.
Yeah.
So before we go, I just want you to tell us what if you can, you kind of like teased us with your new tech company.
Oh, right.
Tell me about it.
Totally. Okay. So bringing all of our random threads together
Yes.
of my story here, I think so. One of the things that I've been paying attention to is what the needs are for AI and what somebody like me who's not a techie, I'm not going to become an AI programmer, right? Like what I can do to build a business using it.
And it sounds like you're married to one though.
I am married to one.
That's
and he's
convenient.
using it to make like he has an app that he and his company built, and he's using it to like get further faster. So exciting.
What is it?
So he created an app that helps monitor fuel tanks in remote areas.
Cool.
Right. Because can you imagine having to like send somebody to the middle of nowhere? So
to check the fuel.
Right. But I guess like you can use it for programming too.
Okay.
Just again, to like check things or get code done faster. So pretty cool. And
sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
Because I've had developers create a couple things lately, but is there a place where we can go besides the App Store? I know that, but do you know of a place you can go where like you can find like pieces of software that like it's like a marketplace for software? Is that a thing?
There is.
Okay.
And I'll get back to you because I don't know where, but I know there is.
Yeah, because we're doing a tree of gifts for Alaska Mill and Feed.
Yes.
And it's a digital tree of gifts. Somebody clicks in, puts in their email and phone number, and then on the tree there's like all these cool gifts, like a year's worth of dog food and ice bugs, and then they click and the thing spins and it comes out, and then it goes to your email, and then you bring it to the store.
That is so creative. That's really exciting.
I did it back in the day for Skinny Raven when I was there, but I hit up the same guy who developed it the first time. He's like, yeah, that code's not going to work anymore. We're going to have to redo it, of course. Yeah. And so I was thinking like maybe I could put this out in the marketplace, like this thing that I had paid to build, and I could sell it or license it to other businesses because it would work for lots of retail businesses.
Absolutely.
Anyways, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea.
Back to your tech company that you're starting very soon.
In a year is what I'm thinking. Anyway, so what I realized is that like there's still a gap in the market, just as there was when like Microsoft Office, rolled out. And that is like helping people understand how to use it for their daily lives. Now my current day job is a coach and trainer for the Alaska Women's Business Center. It's an SBA program. And many of my clients have been asking about like, I'm hearing about AI. I've tried ChatGPT. How can I utilize it? And what I realized is, gosh, beyond like these solopreneurs that I'm mostly working with now, established small businesses are going to be wondering, like they did 30 years ago with Microsoft Word, like how to actually use AI in their daily business. So I think like what I'm imagining is
this is a big question for everybody who's in business and who knows what AI is capable of so far. Like this is a big question. So go ahead.
Yeah. And so essentially what I plan to do is like start a global training company that will help businesses, with the very basic understanding of like, how this can simplify, especially like their administrative work, editing, just get, Yeah, just make the actual daily work faster. And what I'm anticipating is people will become more efficient, maybe find more joy in their work because it will reduce the drudgery.
Yeah, I know you can't reveal a lot because it's your business and a lot of it's going to be proprietary how you set it up. But does this have something to do with the? I saw ChatGPT is introducing like an app store thing where you can develop tools, and then
there'll be a piece of that. But I do think like
training, like you can go to a business and say like, okay, what do you guys do? Like, how does it look? And then how can we integrate AI into what you guys do?
And I think one component that just being a Gen Xer, right, who likes the in-person, I think part of what will be our special offering is that we will physically go wherever you are into your office and actually sit down with the people and work with them.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I think that's a part of it.
Versus somebody who's just like, yeah, I'll help you with the AI integration, that's emailing you that feels like spam.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I do have a resource for AI, by the way. Have you already heard of the AI Marketing Institute?
No.
Okay. So Jennifer Christensen from Beacon, who's always like a visionary. She's always like ahead of the curve a little bit. Brought it back during Alaska Startup Week. And did a free training for us and was like, if you take nothing else away, go to this website and go deep into like all of the tools they have, because it's not just good for you individually, but if you need to train a team on how to use the AI tools for marketing.
Was this the seed that started this whole thing?
No, I've already been
had
I use ChatGPT for like probably 2 hours a day in just my regular life. I use it for everything.
So smart. Yeah.
I'm just trying
I
to
always
better.
forget about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could use this.
It's on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. You do pay for the GPT-4.
Yeah, I do.
And how much better is it than 3.5?
Oh, it's light years.
Really?
Yeah, it's light years. It feels like dial up.
What is it, like $20?
Yeah, it's $20 a month. Well worth it. Holy cats.
All right. Yeah, what do you use it for mostly right now? Like, or maybe a better question is like, what is the most useful thing that you've used it for that really like got your time back, or stress, or something that maybe caused you some pain that it took away?
A couple things are like, I'd say the most important one is like, I actually use the dictation service because I'm a talker and I can talk obviously very tangentially. And I basically just ask it to serve as my scribe and then editor. And I just talk freely until I'm done. And then I ask it to pull out like, what were the topics? Can you please organize all the things that I dumped out? What are the tasks that I need to do? What are the takeaways? What are the common themes? And I use it to analyze and consolidate my own thoughts. And it helps with like reporting for my job, thinking through new ideas.
Yeah, like your own brainstorming.
It's
like
my
assistant.
own brainstorming. Yes, thank you. That's a really good way to say it. Yeah, it's really cool.
I need to start doing this.
I know. Yeah, I think you'll just find that the more comfortable you get with it, I guess it's like Siri a bit. Like it took us all a while to get used to asking Siri for things.
Well, talk about a failed product though. Siri, like you guys, Apple can do like the most amazing things in the world, and you still can't figure out how, like Siri, like she still asks me, I'm like, call my wife, and she'll like 1 out of 10 times be like, which one? And I look down at my phone and my wife's in my phone twice. Yeah. Okay.
So funny.
Figure it out.
I know. Like, actually, I asked Siri for directions to Eureka Space just to figure out the fastest way today. She's like, I can't find such a place. And I'm like, yeah, the worst.
Oh, really? You can't find such a place? Anyways, Carrie.
Thanks for your time. Cheers. Let's cheers our Kaladi coffee.
Yeah, Kaladi coffee. It's been so good having you.
Thanks for the time.
I think this is one of our best episodes yet with for people interested in like, tips and tricks for entrepreneurs or just some fun conversation. It's really been great getting to know you better.
Likewise. Thanks, Seth, for the invitation.
Thanks for coming in.